Well, good evening, everyone. 6:30, so we're going to begin our meeting. Right, start with the usual housekeeping that there are no fire alarms scheduled for this evening, so if the fire alarm does go, it's a real thing, and the exit is that way or that way, and we will meet in the War Memorial Park, but obviously that won't happen, hopefully. Item number 1 on the agenda is apologies for absence and substitutions. I've heard that Councillor Harvey is replacing Councillor Tomlin, thank you, and that we have apologies from Councillor Freeman. Everyone else is here. Are there any declarations of interest on any items on the agenda? No. I haven't been notified of any urgent matters unless anybody has any to say now. Right, so item number 4, minutes of the meeting held on the 22nd of June, which is contained in your papers. I'm sure you've read them cover to cover. Are we agreed that I can sign these minutes as a true record? Yeah, agreed. Thank you very much. Our main agenda item is to receive an update on where we are with the land drawdown. So before we hear from Andrew, for which we will go into private session, can I first invite our visiting speaker, Miranda Chubb, to address the committee with your comments. Miranda, do come to the microphone, and have you got one there? And you've got approximately 2 minutes. Okay, over to you.
Thank you. As COP27 approaches, it's a reminder to all of us that climate change is arguably the greatest threat to the world, and making urgent changes across the borough to reduce the level of carbon emissions must be our highest priority. Addressing the impact of climate change, we know, must be the golden thread that runs through all of our decision-making, even in relation to the Manydown development. Due to this, the homes and community facilities in Manydown need to be sustainable, as energy efficient as possible, and constructed to net zero or passive house standards. The Manydown homes are currently set to be built to the Future Home Standard, which, although it is better than Part L, it's not actually zero carbon or passive house standard, which is what is needed given the borough's target to be net zero by 2030. In the future, there may also be energy and water shortages due to climate change, so it's important that any new homes use as little energy as possible and maximise on-site renewable energy generation and minimise water use. I understand that national policy set out in the National Planning Policy Framework allows councils to set higher than national standards, so councils can set their own planning requirements that demand a net zero standard. Reading Borough Council has already done this. Their 2019 local plan requires all new residential developments of 10 or more homes to be built to zero carbon standards and with high levels of water efficiency. We all know it would be more cost effective to construct buildings to the net zero design standards to begin with than it will be to try and have to retrofit them afterwards. You all know that we are in a climate emergency. Please, can I just ask for assurance that any new homes, including those built on Manydown, are constructed to net zero or passive house standards, that they minimise renewable energy generation and minimise energy and water use. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Does Andrew want to make any comment at all?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you to Miranda for those comments. I think it's fair to say the committee has received presentations from Urban and Civic in recent times explaining the approach to how we deal with sustainability and reducing fuel costs and water consumption on site. I think there is ultimately an aim that the development will be an all-electric scheme, so we will have no gas coming onto the scheme, which is a positive. And over time, obviously, we will seek to achieve that net zero as we identify how we're going to achieve that. The challenges will remain, as we know, with Manydown under its existing policy framework that it is operating on. And whilst we are working closely with the developer, Urban and Civic, we remain in a position where we will strive to achieve, but I think the assurance is always going to be a challenge for us at this point in time. But I think we are very much aware of the ambition of the local authority, where we have the emerging local plan policy to have that aspiration for zero carbon.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And thank you for bringing your comments again. That's always very helpful. Thank you. Because of the sensitive nature of the presentation now from the project director, we're going to go into private session, which obviously means that it'll just be the members of the committee and our officers who'll be here. And so I will have to propose a motion, and this is it, that pursuant to section 100A4 of the Local Government Act 1972, the public be excluded from the remainder of the meeting on the grounds the public interest in maintaining the exemption outweighs the public interest in disclosing it, and therefore that exempt information is likely to be disclosed as defined in paragraph 1 of Schedule 12A of the Act. I'm sure you all understood that. Do I have a seconder? Of course you do. Thank you very much indeed. So there'll just be a brief interlude while Bernie switches